Día de los Muertos. Contrary to what some may think, Día de los Muertos, known in English as the Day of the Dead, is not Mexican Halloween. Día de los Muertos has very different origins and meanings from Halloween. Halloween is about scares and potential threats from the dead like ghosts and zombies, playing trick on people. Its origins are Celtic. Día de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, it's about celebrating the life of those who have passed on, confirming the importance of family and memory. It is not intended at all to be scary or sad. Día de los Muertos is a sacred holiday celebrated to remember, to honor the ancestors and the loved one who passed away. It's about cherishing those memories with one another. Día de los Muertos is a celebration of life. In many areas of Mexico, it is believed that the souls of the deceased return to the world of the living during the Día de los Muertos to spend time with their relative and enjoy the altar set up in their honor with delicious drinks and food that they used to enjoy when they were in physical life. The festivity doesn't last just a day, but 3. On October 31st, some all leave like a simple ofrenda of water and salt for the unknown souls, who are wandering souls that are lost or don't have nobody to pray or remember them. November the 1st is dedicated to the deceased children and is often called Día de los Angelitos or Noche de los Angelitos, Little Angels Night. Happens the day before the big event of November 2, because it says that the spirits of the children are so eager to come back to the land of the physical living that they run ahead of the adults who arrive a night later. November the 2nd is dedicated more to the adults who have left the earthly realm. In Mexico, family members are more than happy to go clean up, wash, and repaint their loved ones' graves. So when the soul of the departed ones come, they realize that they were never forgotten. It is an act of respect and love. The bright colors in the cemetery convey the Day of the Dead attitude at the end of life. With such a joyful color, such a bright colors, it is a feeling of happiness to be reunited and to understanding that there is joy in the other side of the veil. Copal resin incense must be lit and the smoke must be flowing around the cemetery and the tombstone as well as in the altars. Burning copal is used to clean and to purify the space of any negative or dense energy so that the visiting souls can have an easy journey and flow freely back and forth. Cempasúchil, meaning flower of 20. Cempasúchil, also known as Mexican marigold, is considered a symbol of life and death. It is believed that the strong aroma of this beautiful flower is enough to guide the dead back to the land of the living so that they can enjoy their feast that await for them in their Día de los Muertos offerings. There is evidence of the use of cempasúchil in pre-Columbian times as a medicine plant by archaeological evidence. The cempasúchil flower represents the sun and its light, and it is this light. This is why it's also used to create paths and guide their loved ones to the altars. Some paths are built with the petals of the flowers at the entrance of the houses as well, so the dead can be guided to the smell and reach the altar or the offering. You will always find cempasúchil flower everywhere. You will find them in the altars, in the graves, in literally everywhere. This is an example of a bridge made of cempasúchil petals for Día de los Muertos, and this is how it looks in the spiritual astral realm. Because of the magic of the flower, the souls of your loved one can cross over the bridge to this side. And this is a clip from the movie Coco 2017 by Disney and Pixar. Highly recommended. They actually did a great job with Día de los Muertos. The home altar, the ofrenda, offerings. El Día de los Muertos altars connect families with their ancestors. The altar must have at least 3 levels, representing heaven or the upper world, earth or the lower world, and purgatory, or the astral spiritual realm who mirrors this one. A white cloth must cover some part of the altar, and a petate, and there must be many candles. Copal resin incense must be lit and the smoke must flow around the altar, as these elements will purify and guide the returning souls from the other side. Pictures and photos of the deceased family members must be put on the altar to commemorate them specifically. Typically, the altar could also contain elements that the dead enjoy in life, such as a guitar for the musical inclined, a toy for children, painting materials for painters, whatever element that was meaningful for in the day enjoy in life, it can be put in the altar. Some people include crosses made of salt, ash, or flour. Some people put images of saints of the Virgin Mary or Guadalupe if they're Catholic. Others include pre-Columbian images or statues, such as the deities of the dead of the Aztec pantheon, venerating these Mesoamerican deities and remembering indigenous traditions. Food. Traditionally, the food acquires a special symbolic significance when laid on the ofrenda. It is not believed that the dead will actually come back and to eat the physical offered food, but they come back and consume its essence, the food's essence. That's how they take nourishment and contentment from the offering. The dead also notice that their living relative has gone out of their way to commemorate them. And they come in to check how is everybody doing.
Look how big she's getting.
In the center picture, we have el pan de muerto, the dead's bread. The dead's bread, it is a sweet bread that is baked specifically for the festival, for Dia de los Muertos days. The traditional bread has its round shape indicating the circle of life, while the figure on top represents a skull and long bones laid out in the cardinal directions. They also are made with orange blossom essence, for the orange aroma to bring up memories together. At the upper right picture we have the animas. Animas are another type of traditional bread used for Dia de los Muertos. In more rural areas, they are meant to represent the souls that will visit during this festivity, and their happy faces indicate that the living wish for the dead to depart fed and be happy. In the other side. In the right lower side of the picture, we have tamales. When wrapped, placed in the pot and then open it, the tamales recall the cycle of death and life. According to many indigenous cultures throughout America, we are children of the corn. The corn gives its life to nourish our bodies so that we can continue our life. When we die, our bodies will go back to the earth and nourish the earth and the soil so the other species can continue their life, such as the plants and the animals who will eat from those plants. Tamales are made of corn. In the upper left side, we have the mole, chicken mole in the dish. Mole is a must-try Mexican delicacy. It is a traditional dish of pre-Columbian origins, usually served for very, very special occasions. This is another strongly aromatic dish, which attracts and satisfies the dead. Mole, it is a spicy chocolatey sauce that can have more than 100 ingredients. And again, we're working with aromas with essence because we believe that the dead don't have a physical body, so their body is non-physical, it's ethereal, and the aromas are more in harmony with their spiritual bodies. We have also the fruits, aromatic fruits that are in season, such as bananas, oranges, mandarins, tejocotes, and guavas are good offerings as well. You can also include any of their favorite drinks in the ofrenda. Calaveritas. No Dia de los Muertos offering could be complete without the traditional sugar skulls. Calaveritas. The origin of the sugar skulls dates back to Mesoamerican cultures, which believed that the death was the conclusion of a stage of life descended to another level. For these cultures, it was common to keep skulls exposed during the rituals of the cult of the dead or to warn off enemies. After the arrival of the Spanish colonizer, these rituals were prohibited for going against the Catholic religion. Any type of ritual, including any human remains or body part, were forbidden. However, they could not stop the resistance of the indigenous peoples, since this new law will not allow them to hold special celebrations where they will put their actual dead family members' skulls on a special altar to remember them and make sure they have a good stay on the other side. The pre-Hispanic cultures understood that death was a natural part of the cycle of life. As in nature, they observed that the trees were born, grow, give fruits, and died. Humans were subjects to the same cycle. To come up with a solution, this is how sugar skulls were created. The sugar skulls are made with the alfeñique technique, which is a mixture of sugar, egg white, drop of lemon, and a plant called chaucle. It is said that this technique is of Arabic origins, adopted by the Spaniards and brought to Mexico. The sugar skull will have the written names of the dead ones on the forehead to be recognized. This way, the indigenous people will have skulls to honor their ancestors and the cult of the dead without actually bringing human parts. As time passes, with the more accessible availability of photographs and pictures, sugar skulls, calaveritas, started representing the living members, family members of our love and dedication to our ancestors. This is in turn serves to remind the visiting souls that they must save a spot for us, the living, on the other side, because we are all going there, to the spiritual realm. They represent not only the sweet affection we have for our dead ones, but they also represent all the elements of Mexican identity, such as sweetness, deliciousful, colorful way to celebrate life and death. Delicious. Nowadays, it is believed that the pictures and photographs of our deceased loved ones must be in the altar to represent them, or they may encounter problems on their way to visit us. Brightly decorated skulls made of sugar paste have evolved to chocolate or amaranth now, even sugar cookies. When giving calaveritas away to our friends or living family relatives, sometimes you will write your living friends or living family names on the forehead to wish and secure them to have a good spot on the other side. Sugar skulls show us that the death is part of life and the importance to just accept it as a natural process. Water. Water is considered the source of life. Water is offered to the souls to quench their thirst after their long journey and to strengthen their return. Water symbolizes the purity of the souls. The water in the altar, the half bubbles form, are the souls passing by the altar who came to visit. The salt in the altar is an element of purification and serves so that the spiritual body of the souls coming to visit does not become corrupted by denser energies or negative energy imprints on their way to the earth, and they will be able to come back the following year. Veladoras, candles. The ancient pre-Hispanic indigenous people from Mexico used slices of ocote, a type of wood stick. Nowadays, the candle is used in its different forms: candles, candlesticks, or waxes in glass. The flame they produce means light, faith, hope. It is a guiding light with its flickering flame, so that the souls can reach their old places and illuminate their return to their homes. There can be as many or as little candles the family wish to light. However, in several indigenous communities, each candle represents a departed soul. The number of candles in the altar of Dia de los Muertos will depend on the souls that the family wants to receive. Usually, if four of these are placed crosswise, they represent the four cardinal points north, south, east, west, so that the soul can orient itself until it finds its way to its home. Papel picado, or cut paper banners. The papel picado is hung around the altar or on the altar to represent the joy of reuniting with our loved ones, as well as to remembering the joy of daily life. The bright colors and everyday scenes remind us of the joy in the simple everyday moments. When moving, it represents the element of air, as it is also believed that the air carries our prayers and connects us to the breath of life. Buen viento, good wings. Alebrijes. Alebrijes are strange creatures with bright colors that combine various parts of animals, including flowers. Unlike wood carvings, alebrijes are made with paper, cardboard, and metal for the structure. The alebrijes were created by the cardboard craftsman Pedro Linares, who fell seriously ill, and in one of his dreams he saw one of these creatures that lived in a forest. They shouted, "Alebrijes! Alebrijes!" After this dream, the cartonero woke up and decided to bring these strange creatures to reality. Therefore, colorful alebrijes were born. For almost 50 years, Pedro Linares worked to create more alebrijes and to live this cultural heritage that is recognized around the world. Alebrijes on the Dia de los Muertos are considered spiritual guides to reach the underworld and to protect you, as they did with cartonero Pedro Linares. Catrinas. During Dia de los Muertos, you see adults and children wearing fancy hats and clothes and very white makeup applied to evoke the faces of skeletons. This reflects the tradition of La Catrina y el Catrín, the female and male iconic representation of faces of the dead in Dia de los Muertos. Catrina is an icon of social justice, representing cultural resistance and living in authenticity. Catrinas are not a Halloween costume, and it's not appropriate to dress as a Catrina for Halloween. It comes from a tradition with pre-Hispanic roots that nurtures a direct relationship between the living and the dead. Mictecatzihuat, the queen of the underworld in the Aztec cosmology, also known as Lady of the Dead. Between the many deities of death honored and celebrated, Mictecatzihuat's role was to watch over the bones of the dead, and her presence was front and center during any recognition of those who have passed on. She presided over the ancient festival of the dead. The belief was that the dead make a journey that descends to the underworld. The ancients' view of death was not a mournful one. They saw it as a part of the cycle of life, and celebrate the departed by leaving offerings on altars. Those offerings will assist their loved one who has passed away in their onward trials in the other side. These ofrendas continue to be associated with the Day of the Dead. And here we can appreciate a traditional dance in front of a Dia de los Muertos altars, honoring the deities of the dead, especially Mictecatzihuat. La Calavera Garbancera was originally an illustration created by the Mexican writer José Guadalupe Posada at the beginning of the 20th century. The painter and illustrator Maestro José Posada created this character with the aim of making social criticism of the middle and privileged classes. His comments were published in the newspaper, and next to them he always placed La Calavera Garbancera, the chickpeas skulls. And it is that the garbancero garbancera were the people who denied having indigenous roots and pretended to be Europeans. Under this criticism, Posada drew a skull with a very huge hat, which alluded to those who wanted to appear or be more than what they really were. La Calavera Garbancera was very poor. She had no clothes, she had nothing, only her bare bones. But in spite of everything, she wore a very elegant hat to make it appear that she was a woman of the French aristocracy. Later, Maestro Muralista Diego Rivera completed the outfit with an elegant dress in his work Dream of a Sunday Afternoon in Alameda Central. La Calavera now wore an elegant dress of feathers and was no longer called Garbancera but Katrina. La Calavera Katrina. It seems that the word Catrin referred to a type of man that was very characteristic of the Mexican aristocracy. They were men who dressed very elegantly and were usually accompanied by a woman also very elegant. La Catrina represented this type of woman. Nowadays, Katrina has evolved as a symbol of social justice, activism, and living authentically for who you are as you are. Children, adults, and elders paint their faces as Katrinas or Katrins to represent death as a natural part of life, to channel an ancestor while painting their faces, or to remember the lesson of the Katrina. Death comes to all of us, no matter who you are. At the end of the day, like Maestro José Posada once said, blonde, brunette, rich, or poor, all people ended up being a school. Death is the great equalizer. So let's live at peace with death as being part of life, and let's live authentically for who we are as we are. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to take anything with us, just the love in our hearts, the clear mind, and the beautiful memories with our loved ones. Further reading list, and a special gratitude to Cecilia from Teotihuacan, Mexico, for her guidance in the learning process of Dia de los Muertos. If you feel inspired to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, please remember to research and honor your own traditions and ancestry. Get to know it as well. The altar is not about how big or small, how complex, simple or fancy it might be. It's the energy and the intention, the love that you put in to make it. That is the most important. Remember, if it's possible in your area, give back by supporting Mexican bakeries, stores, or flower shop for your sugar schools, for your pan de muerto, flowers, candles, and any element of your offerings. Please, if it's possible in your area, visit local Mexican festivals or museums where they might be having workshops or events during or around Dia de los Muertos days. If possible, plan a visit to Mexico around these days as well. Take some time to really learn about Dia de los Muertos and the tradition. Dia de los Muertos is the Mexican Halloween, and there is no appropriate to dress as a Catrina for a Halloween costume. If you feel called to dress as a Catrina, please do it in the dates that are specifically for Dia de los Muertos, such as November 1st to the 2nd. And having conscious awareness of what it means to dress up as a Catrina and what is the energy that you are inviting in with respect. May your ofrenda offerings help you to reconnect with your loved one in this world and the next. May you know the love is eternal.